In this video, I want to talk about 9 underrated growth tips if you're trying to grow your business with YouTube, get more leads, and make more money. Now, these are some tips that maybe you've heard before, maybe you haven't, that are meant specifically if you're trying to get more leads from YouTube. So I'm not talking about getting the most views or the most subscribers and being an influencer. I mean getting the right views from the right people who will ultimately do business with you. By the way, my name is Jacob. On this channel, I talk about doing SEO and YouTube marketing, mostly in real estate, but this video will apply to many types of businesses. Number 1, especially in the beginning, batch it, set it, and forget it. Now, when you are starting a YouTube channel, it's tough. You're playing a mental game. If you're new to being on camera, it's a struggle to find the motivation to want to sit down, film a video, and then edit it and then post it to the world. Now, here's what I do. If I'm going to take the time to plan out a video, take the time to make the room all nice and pretty for a video, I would rather sit down and film 2, 3, or 4 videos in one day instead of just one. Now, there's a couple benefits this has. First of all, it helps you develop your ideas when you sit down and you have to have 5 or 6 videos outlined and ready to film instead of just one. It really makes you spend some time thinking about what ideas do I have, what would make a good video, and how much do I actually have to say for each video. And if your goal is to post 1 video a week, I think that's a really good starting point. So if you can sit down and do 5 or 6 videos in one day or even over 2 days, you're gonna be set for the next 5 or 6 weeks. Now, another thing that this helps with is the psychological part of starting on YouTube. So when I say batch it and then set it and forget it, I mean have those videos uploaded in your YouTube dashboard, schedule them out 1 per week for the next 5 or 6 weeks, and then basically forget your channel exists. Don't check it. Don't go in there to see if you got views or likes or comments, especially if you know you're going to be disappointed or it's going to affect your mental state to see that you got videos out there that aren't getting views. The set it and forget it is really important here. Now, I'm just speaking from my personal experience. I mean, even with this channel, for example, I've got like 20 videos up and currently I have 46 subscribers. It's a grind and it is slow to see progress. So if you know that mentally that's gonna mess you up, then just don't look at the results. Schedule everything out for the next month and check your YouTube dashboard in a month. Now, tip number 2, deliver on the thumbnail as fast as you can. Now, what I mean by this is when I'm editing videos, I always like to have some kind of visual in the video. It might be some B-roll, it might be showing a picture on the screen for a few seconds, maybe it's some kind of statistic, a graph, a chart, whatever. And it definitely depends on the kind of video I'm filming. But here's what I do. I will look for a visual that is included in the video sometime in the first 1 to 2 to maybe 3 minutes of the video, and I will use that for the thumbnail. Now, obviously, it does depend on how many visuals you have because some videos have a lot of B-roll and pictures and graphs, and some videos don't have that many. But I do try to take something that is in the first part of the video and add that to the thumbnail, whether it's my face or some kind of visual element. And the reason I do this is because I want the viewers to feel that reward of, okay, they saw the thumbnail, there was something about it that got their attention, they clicked it, they wanted to watch, and at some point in those first few minutes, they got what they wanted to see from the thumbnail. I'm also a big fan of split testing thumbnails, so if I have different designs I want to use as a thumbnail and I don't know which one's going to perform better, I will split test. And I will sometimes use multiple visuals in those first 3 minutes of the video to test out which thumbnail gets more clicks and a higher average view duration. Tip number 3, use relevant calls to action depending on the video you're filming and depending on what your goal is when someone watches that video. You want to be intentional because I see a lot of people on YouTube saying, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and that's a very common call to action on YouTube, but is that the most relevant call to action for your business? Oftentimes, I would be willing to bet no, it's not. A relevant call to action for you might be fill out the form below or enter your information to get a lead magnet or sign up for an email list or book a Zoom call. Basically, whatever your goal is for someone watching the video, whether it's you want them to download a lead magnet or sign up for your email list, or you want their contact information on a lead form, ask for that in the video. Another thing when it comes to calls to action is keep in mind your average view duration and where in the video your call to action is. I like to have calls to action somewhere early in the video so that way the majority of people are still watching the video when they see that call to action. So I'll give you an example of a little oopsie I made a few weeks ago. So I had a video that was about 16 minutes long. And this video was for an affiliate channel. So the call to action is for someone to click a link and sign up for a software trial. Now this video was about 16 minutes long and the average view duration was about 4 minutes 30. Now I had that call to action about 7 minutes into the video. And in hindsight, that was way too far into the video because by then most viewers had dropped off. What I wish I'd done is put that call to action maybe around 3 or 4 minutes. That way more people are actually seeing the call to action because they're still watching the video. So by around 7 or 8 minutes, there's way fewer people watching the video. So that call to action got less views and fewer clicks. So just pay attention for that. Now, tip number 4, which is something I don't see people doing very often on YouTube, is to tell people to reach out directly to you. So as great as it is to use a call to action like sign up below, schedule a call, fill out this lead form, download a PDF or an ebook, I am a really big fan of telling people to text me, email me, or call me directly. If you want to just have a direct conversation with your potential clients and customers, having a direct reach out as your call to action is very, very powerful. And by the way, if you have any questions about what I talk about in this video or on my channel, feel free to reach out. Just send me a text or send me an email. My contact info is right below. See what I did there? Sneaky. When you're doing direct calls to action, make sure that you have your email address and your phone number easy to find in multiple places. So make sure it pops up on the screen. Make sure you have that in your description, in your channel bio, maybe even pin it as a comment down below. Maybe put it in your channel art up at the top of your channel. Make your contact information easy to find. And instead of using your personal email or cell phone, just get a separate Gmail account and get a separate Google Voice number that you use specifically for your YouTube channel. Even if you have a separate number for your business or an email address for your company, use a dedicated email and phone number just for YouTube. So that way you can actually track the results of how many calls, texts, or emails you're getting just from YouTube. Now, this isn't going to work for every person on YouTube because you actually have to follow through with it. So you have to be available to answer the phone, answer those text messages and emails from your viewers. And if you're not comfortable doing that, then you might be better off just asking someone to fill out a lead form. Now, tip number 5 is to give the best information up front. So what I try to do when I film videos, especially one like this where I'm giving multiple tips, is I try to front load the video with the most important tips at the beginning. It'll help you earn someone's trust, build rapport with them, and give them as much value as possible. Because what I hate seeing is when people make videos that's, let's say 10 different tips and it's a bunch of fluff at the beginning and then they leave the best information all the way at the end of the video. But if you think about it this way, most people are not watching your video all the way through. When I talk about average view duration, that means that on average, most people watch up until however far in the video they make it. So if it's a 10-minute video and your average view duration is 3 minutes, that means that on average, people are only watching 3 minutes of your video. So you want to make those first 3 minutes as valuable and helpful as possible. So don't wait until the end to drop the big knowledge bomb in your video. Do it at the beginning. Now, tip number 6 is about thumbnails and titles. You want to think about the thumbnail and title as sisters, not twins. So what do I mean by this? I don't want to have the same words or the same information in the title and the thumbnail. I want them to both play off of each other and intrigue someone enough to click the video, but I don't want them to say the same thing. So what I like to do a lot is use the thumbnail as a way to show something interesting or provocative or emotional. and then use the title as a way of explaining it. So for a video like this, the title might be something like 10 underrated growth tips on YouTube or 10 hacks to grow your YouTube channel. But the thumbnail might show some emotion and might say something like explode your business or get 10 times more leads from YouTube. So that way the title and the thumbnail add to each other, but they're not repeating the same thing. Now, tip number 7 is about finding information that you give in your YouTube videos. And what I like to do is find niche information and make it common knowledge. So whatever your industry is and whatever topic you're making videos about, you want to be using the words your customers and clients are familiar with and speak to them in a way they would understand. But it's also important to give away your industry secrets, your best hacks, your best tips, the best information that might not be common knowledge, at least common knowledge to the customers you're trying to reach. And a big way I like to do this is by joining certain subreddits or Facebook groups that are very industry specific. So again, I do a lot of real estate content, so I look in subreddits for realtors, developers, real estate investors, see what they're talking about, see what kinds of things they have questions about, what they're struggling with, and make videos that maybe address those concerns, maybe help them. A lot of times for me, that's marketing related. So giving tips on growing with YouTube or growing with websites. And I'm also in groups for marketing people. So agency owners, SEO people, YouTube people. So what I like to do is cross-reference between those different groups of people to see what questions and concerns people have in one group and maybe what tips, strategies, or secrets people have in another group, and kind of take what's specific to the marketing people and talk about it more with the real estate people. Now, number 8 is a funny little tip. I like to have what I call designated fuck it videos. Now, what do I mean by this? In the game of marketing, whether it's YouTube, SEO, you have to experiment a lot. Some content you make will work and it'll do great, and sometimes it won't. In order to find the content that really outperforms, you have to experiment. So on YouTube, it is good to try different things. So you might want to try different types of videos. When I say that, that could be the actual way of doing a video. So right now, I'm doing a very talking head style video, sitting in front of the camera. If you do a lot of that, maybe switch it up and try some kind of vlog video or a tour video. In real estate, I do this a lot by doing listing videos or new construction tours. On this marketing channel, I do a lot of screen share videos where I will share a presentation or I will show a tutorial on how to do something. So you have different types of videos, and you can also experiment with different topics. If you spend most of your time on YouTube talking about maybe 1 or 2 or 3 different things, maybe try to branch out a little bit. Talk about something in a different way, or talk about a different topic you've never really addressed on your channel. You can also experiment with length. So I do this a lot. Sometimes I'll make a video that's maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes. That's probably the shortest I'll do a video on the low end. And then I have some videos that are kind of in the middle, maybe 15, 20 minutes. And then occasionally I'll do videos that are more like 30, 35, 40 minutes long. You can experiment with your setup. So I do a lot of videos in this home office. I like my studio, but before I had this, I did a lot of experimentation filming in my bedroom, the living room, different parts of the house. I experimented with different ways of editing. My point is there are a lot of ways you can experiment with your content. Doesn't matter how you do it. My point is to do it. Aim to have 1 out of maybe every 5 or 10 videos as a designated fuck it video, where you're trying to branch out and do something new type of video, a new topic. Maybe you try something different with editing, because worst case scenario, maybe it doesn't do well. You get a couple of views, maybe no views, but then in the best case scenario, it does really well. You get a lot of views, you get people reaching out to you, you get feedback and ideas in the comment section, and those comments and questions can lead to more videos in the future. My point is, don't box yourself into doing the same thing again and again, same style video, same topic, same editing. Just make sure you are very intentional about switching things up every now and then. Now, the last tip that I have for you is to have an action mindset. Because what I've done a lot on YouTube is find that I have second guessed myself before I've even tried something. So if you're experimenting with a new video, or if you're starting your channel from scratch and you find yourself questioning, is this gonna work? I don't know how to feel about it. Maybe it's not a good idea. Stop right there and have the mindset that you have no idea if something's gonna work or not until you try it, and you wait at least 6 months to see the results. So when you're starting your YouTube channel, you have to commit to it for at least 6 months. Post a video every single week, and you have no idea if it's gonna work, which videos are gonna be popular, which ones are not, until you've given it 6 months to see the results, and you keep going during those 6 months. So you can't just post one video and pray that it's gonna work. You gotta be consistent for 6 months. And when you have a new idea or you think about doing something differently, you gotta ask yourself, have I tried this? Yes or no? And if the answer is no, stop right there. You cannot jump to conclusions. You cannot make an assumption. You got to wait until you have actual evidence and concrete proof that maybe something worked, maybe it didn't. And sometimes, especially when a channel's new, you can wait 6 months and still not really know. That's kind of how I feel about this channel. I mean, like I said, I've got over 20 videos. Some of them have like 10 views. Some of them have like 150, 200 views. But really, the YouTube game is a long-term approach where with some of my content, they don't really start to pick up until a year or 2 or sometimes 3 years down the line. It is a very long-term play, and that is also why it's good to focus on content that is evergreen and searchable over time. So keep at it, have an action mindset, and make sure you're experimenting and executing to grow your channel. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, please let me know down below. Outside of that, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.